Stefano Scarpetta, you're head of the OECD's employment division, and you've just come out with a new book on the job market that seems to paint a pretty grim picture, that things are going to get worse before they get better. Why is that?
Well, what started as a financial crisis quickly turned into a global economic crisis, and from there it moved into a job crisis. The unemployment rate in the OECD area has already reached 8.5%, which basically implies that there are 15 million more unemployed people today than there were only at the end of 2007. Now, the latest economic indicator gives us some hope that the worst might be over, that the recovery might be in sight. But this is likely to be sort of a modest recovery for a number of months to come. And we also know from previous episodes of economic recessions that it takes time before the recovery in output actually translates into job creation. So what we're expecting is still some further increase in unemployment in the months to come, and only some improvement in labor market conditions towards the end of 2010.
But is there a risk that today's high levels of unemployment will stay high for months and years to come?
Indeed, when we look at the previous economic recession, what we notice is that there is a tendency for this significant increase in unemployment to persist at high level. A number of individuals have lost their job, may move into long-term unemployment. Some of them might see their human capital deteriorate, may become discouraged, and some of them may actually leave the labor market altogether. So even when the economy picks up again, it might take time to bring these individuals back into the labor market and into jobs.
So would you say governments have moved quickly enough? Have they been aggressive enough in trying to save jobs and help people find jobs?
Well, indeed, I think from a macro point of view, many countries have put in place large, unprecedented stimulus packages. Part of the resources available in these stimulus packages also gone into supporting labor market policy and social policies. There have been different actions that have been taken. One, many countries have tried to support the labor demand, to protect some jobs by providing support to companies to keep some of their workers through subsidy for reduction in working time, hiring subsidies, or reduction in social security contribution. These have helped to somewhat reduce the increase in unemployment. These measures work in the short run, but of course they have to be removed as soon as the economy picks up again to facilitate this process of reallocation of resources, including labor, to more productive activities. The second response has been also to help the many who have lost their job by providing them an income support. This has been essential. And in a number of countries, the coverage of unemployment benefit or social assistance is not very large, and so there have been efforts to somewhat increase the coverage or even prolong the duration of benefit. That again has been very important. We have also seen some increase in resources going into re-employment policies. But given the increase in unemployment we have noticed in many countries, the amount of resources available for re-employment policies have not been enough. So countries are facing severe constraint in how to best help the many unemployed people, what kind of support to provide them. What we argue is that it's very important to focus on search assistance, to make sure that all of those who can get into a job get the right support. But of course, there are many more who are at risk of moving to long-term unemployment, may become discouraged, and for them a more in-depth support is needed in terms of training and retraining if needed, or even supported employment to keep them in contact with the labor market, to make sure that when the recovery actually gains momentum, they are ready to move back into employment. That, I think, is the challenge in the context in which resources for policy in general will not be very large.